Welcome to this on-demand webinar for RUCKUS Analytics, our cloud service for network intelligence and service assurance. Our agenda today, we're going to start with industry trends related to network analytics and service assurance, followed by customer challenges, product overview, and next steps of what you can do, where you can go to learn more. Let's start off with industry trends. The first industry trend that we want to cover is network complexity. It might seem like kind of a cliche, but I would actually argue it's more of a truism that networks are growing more complex than ever before. More users, devices, device types, and data traffic on the network means bigger challenges for making sure the network is operating as expected in keeping with user expectations and to the need to support demanding applications on the network. Network complexity is a trend that's going to continue into the future, and it's only going to get more so going forward. The same is true with cloud adoption and the increasing tendency of enterprise organizations to prefer a cloud deployed application in terms of the applications that they're deploying and the tools that they're using to manage the network as well. And that's another one that's just going to continue into the future. It's going to extrapolate. It's something that started 10, 15 years ago, and even more so is it going to be the case going forward. In addition to those two, we also have automation. Automation specifically around routine tasks related to service assurance and the inability to keep up of manual processes when it comes to making sure that the network is operating according to the way that it needs to operate to support users. So network complexity, cloud adoption, and automation are three of the trends that are driving adoption of this product category of network analytics for service assurance. I want to take a moment to socialize the notion with you of an evolution from the old world of basic reporting, where the system was able to aggregate data and present it to you in a way that was fairly static, but was informative, but really didn't measure up to what you needed in order to be able to manage the network effectively. And we're moving forward now and have moved forward now to a world of machine learning, a much more sophisticated approach, where analytic systems are able to auto-identify and trace the root causes of service assurance issues. But that's a step in the evolution toward full-on artificial intelligence in which the network is able to auto-remediate, or you can think of it as the self-healing or autonomous network. Self-tuning is another way to think about it, where the network becomes part of an analytics-driven sort of ecosystem that adjusts its own, its own settings in order to make sure that things are operating smoothly without the need for IT admins to intervene. So that's the world we're working towards in the industry, and we've taken some important steps here with RUCKUS Analytics, and we've dipped our toe pretty far into the water, actually, on that artificial intelligence front, as you'll see later in the presentation. But that vision of the self-healing network is the thing that I think everybody in the industry is striving for, and CommScope RUCKUS, more than anyone. Let's take a moment to talk about customer challenges related to service assurance. The first challenge is lack of true insight into network operations. Without the proper tools in place, you don't know for sure what's really going on in your network, and you tend to try to cobble together information from a bunch of disparate data sources and go on fishing expeditions to figure out if anything happened, because you don't really have ready visibility into the status of the network and what's really going on. So lack of insight is the first customer challenge related to this category of service assurance. As a result of that lack of insight, the IT team, the help desk, can tend to be inundated with service assurance related issues, or issues where a user can't connect or takes too long to connect or gets disconnected, and so on and so forth. You can see the IT guy here, help desk guy here with multiple phones, is not looking too happy right now because his mean time to resolution is too long. He doesn't have the tools in place to move those tickets off of his plate, right? And as a result of that, the IT management organization ends up having to over-allocate resources to the help desk to address these service assurance issues, and management's not happy because they're seeing increased help desk costs. It doesn't have to be that way. There's a better way to manage this. And you probably won't be surprised to hear that we have a product to address these customer challenges, purpose-built for that purpose, which is RUCKUS Analytics. It is a cloud service for network intelligence and service assurance. as you can probably imagine, the value of it goes quite a bit deeper than that encapsulated description, but it's in its most distilled form. That's what the product is about, RUCKUS Analytics, cloud service for network intelligence and service assurance. If you've attended other CommScope RUCKUS product line webinars, you've probably seen a version of this slide before. I just want to take a moment to mention where RUCKUS Analytics fits in the product portfolio. Of course, we have at the bottom of the portfolio there a wide variety of access points. On top of that, we have switches, and control and management architectures, a variety of different choices in terms of controller architectures and management architectures that you would want to deploy with a RUCKUS network. And at the top of the portfolio, we have software and SaaS, that corner of the portfolio, which is very near and dear to my heart. And RUCKUS Analytics takes its place alongside Cloud Path Enrollment System, Smart Cell Insight for reporting, and Spot for location services. And it fits neatly into that service assurance product category. RUCKUS Analytics becomes a member of the software and SaaS portfolio within the RUCKUS branded portfolio at CommScope. I wanted to take a moment to point out that we support with RUCKUS Analytics 2 of those controller architectures represented on the previous slide. And one of those is Smart Zone, and the other is the RUCKUS Cloud Management Architecture. And both of those platforms will feed data into RUCKUS Analytics. So you can use RUCKUS Analytics as your analytics platform, your analytics cloud service, if you have a Smart Zone deployment 5.1.2 or above, or if you have a RUCKUS Cloud deployment. Both of those are currently supported. And as you can imagine, customers that already have those deployed is a key target audience where we hope to get lots of adoption of this platform and this product. But also, if you're considering a larger RUCKUS wired and wireless purchase, analytics becomes a reason to buy RUCKUS. And as you'll see, the value is very compelling. So you're going to want to take a careful look at analytics as part of a larger purchase. And this is going to map to customers that typically have 50 to 100 APs, access points, and 1,000 users and above is typically where you see the complexity that a full-on analytics product like this would be appropriate, and where you're really going to get the most value of it. And that's going to map to these two controller architectures within our portfolio. Okay, I want to go a little deeper here now, and this is where it really gets good. The network health monitoring is the first feature that I want to discuss as we discuss our features of RUCKUS Analytics. And network health monitoring is a mechanism, it's a tab, a module within the product where the system automatically monitors network health relative to a variety of metrics in 3 broad categories. And these are connection, performance, and infrastructure. And we also pull that up into an overview tab that pulls the most pertinent metrics from each of those categories into a top level overview, but you also have the ability to drill down and look at each of the categories individually. And you're able to zoom in and look at the segment of the network that you want if you like, or you can look at the network as a whole as well. And over on the right-hand panel there, you're able to change the SLA level, the threshold by which you want to measure yourself. And the system will automatically measure what proportion of the time you're meeting that SLA metric in the defined category that you have defined. It provides a line chart over time. That's what you see on the left there. And on the right is where you change the setting. You just pull the slider bar and it'll tell you what proportion of the network or the time your network is meeting your expectations the way that you've defined it. And all this monitoring is done automatically. So there's no manual cobbling together. That's all done for you automatically. So network health monitoring is a really important feature of this offering. Incident analytics is the next one that we want to cover. And what we do here is the system automatically identifies incidents that flow from network anomalies. The incidents can be service affecting or they may not yet be service affecting, but the system automatically identifies these service incidents on your network. It classifies them as to severity, and it identifies root causes for the incident and makes specific recommendations about how you can remediate it. And a lot of times, the same root cause can cause service issues for multiple users. Or you may even be able to address a root cause before it becomes service affecting. So you're actually preventing service issues before the user is even affected. So this is a really powerful capability, and it's all automated as well. I mean, you do have to take the step of the remediation yourself, but as I said, we're working toward that world of this autonomous self-healing network, where the network takes more and more of those actions on your behalf as well. And I will say that the classification by severity is where the artificial intelligence comes in. So it's actually performing the task of classifying the incident by severity. You don't have to do that. And then the machine learning comes in on the identifying incidents and establishing root causes as well. So the ML and AI technology is firmly embedded in the product, particularly in this feature. Client troubleshooting, and this is the feature that lets you drill down into the connectivity experience of an individual client on the network. And you see that at the top here, I've got the information obfuscated because ordinarily it would show the IP address and the MAC address of the device, and we don't want to do that because that's PII, right? But ordinarily you would see that information, and you can search from the top level screen, the top level dashboard, for a particular client by username, by IP address, and then it will give you this information about basically their network connectivity experience on the network and events related to that experience. So this is very useful when it comes to drilling down into the experience of an individual client and understanding, how is the network working for them, and how can you troubleshoot any problems that they're having down to this very, very granular level. So client troubleshooting is one of the features that, as the name implies, is going to help you to accelerate troubleshooting and shorten the time to resolution for any issues that your users are having. And then we have a couple of other features that we're building on a foundation of, which is reporting and dashboards. So this product comes with a variety of prepackaged reports, so you can get started right out of the box. The top level dashboard we've already mentioned, and I'll show you in a little bit more detail later. But a lot of functionality that's prepackaged right out of the box. You can get started right away, and it's all very intuitive, very informative. And we also give you a data explorer tool, which gives you the ability, a couple of important capabilities. One is to flexibly drill down into your network data warehouse in a way that we think is pretty industry unique, actually. It's not just a static ability to use some reviews or whatever. You're able to really drill down there, even into the level of raw data, using the Data Explorer tool. And that also gives you the ability to create custom dashboards with drag and drop ease as well. So that's great stuff. So those are really the big five in terms of the features that we want you to focus in on with this product. And I do want to give you, I'm not going to focus too long on this, but I do want to give you just a taste of what some of the visuals are around RUCKUS Analytics. And we're going to switch over to the actual product interface here and do a little clockwise tour of the top level dashboard. And this is the dashboard for RUCKUS Analytics. It's your summary view into what is going on in your network with a variety of panels that have different functionalities, which I'll just walk through really briefly. You can see up here in the upper right-hand corner, we're able to adjust the time frame that we're looking at on the network. And an example of, we can go to 7 days, we can go to 1 day or last hour, or we can go to last 24 hours, which is the default setting. And you can see that the numbers on the screen change, as you would expect, because these are over time that we're tracking these metrics. Below that, we see the incident summary, and the incidents, as I mentioned, are classified according to severity. And these may or may not be service affecting. In the case of P3s or P4s, they probably, they may not be service affecting at this point, but we're able to see a summary of the incidents for the defined period of time, P1 through P4. P1's, of course, being the most urgent. And because we classified the incidents according to severity, which is the one that needs to be addressed first. You're able to prioritize appropriately. And the classification is based upon factors like the duration of the incident, the number of users affected, and the category of the incident. And you're actually able, I'll just click through here, to click through and see more detail on the incidents as well. But not to dwell on that. We want to focus for now on the dashboard itself. Now, in the lower right-hand corner here, this large panel is the circle packing chart, which is a graphical representation of the network hierarchy, and it gives you the ability to drill down for a more granular view, and just with the click of a mouse. So if I just go ahead and click through there, you can see that the metrics on the screen change. This part of the network's doing pretty well. We just have one P4 incident. And so you're able to drill down on any part of the network at will. You notice that the circle packing chart is color coded so that you're able to identify the sections of the network that have the worst or the highest frequency of incidents. So that one with the red there is one that you might want to take a deeper look into if you're the network admin for this particular network. Continuing on our clockwise tour, we have in the lower left-hand panel just the incident summary, and you can see that for the level of resolution that we have defined in the part of the network that we're looking at, it focuses on, it sorts incidents first by P1 through P4, so by severity level, and secondly by reverse chronological order. And then you're able to drill down there as well to look at individual incidents and the incident analytics for each one of those. Up above, we have incident types, and that is simply basically a chart that breaks them out by type: connection, performance, and infrastructure. You can see that most of the incidents we have there are connection related, and this, of course, will sum to the same sum as the incident summary in the upper right-hand corner. After that, we have network history, which is a line chart over the time that we've defined in the upper right that tells you the clients on the network, the new clients defined as those that have joined in the last half hour, and impacted clients on the network, and that means impacted by service affecting incidents. Up above, we have a variety of alternating high-level metrics that actually, if you click through on those will lead to reports that give you more detail in the particular category that high-level metric is related to. So the click-through will go through some of our prepackaged reports. I want to keep it pretty brief here, so I'm not going to go into all the features of the product, but this gives you some sense, I hope, of some of the power of this, just at the summary level, and it's not even going into the detail. On the left-hand side, of course, we have a very nice nav bar that lets you move very easily to different portions of the product, with whether it's analytics or reporting or the data explorer tool mentioned previously. And last but not least is a search bar here. So if you wanted to search for a specific client on the network by username or by IP address, you could do that, and it would take you to the client troubleshooting page. And so you get an idea of just the top level dashboard and the functionality that provides. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the presentation here for just a minute as we head into the home stretch. So that was our brief demo just of the overview page, or the overview top level dashboard. There's a lot more richness here, but I did want to keep this pretty brief. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention some of the benefits around RUCKUS Analytics. And the first benefit is that it provides comprehensive visibility into network operations. You get insight into what's really going on in your network like never before, and a level of visibility that is really going to help you in your day-to-day activities. And it accelerates network and client troubleshooting with things like the client troubleshooting tool and the incident analytics. It identifies, prioritizes, and recommends remediation steps so that you can reduce your mean time to resolution for any service affecting incidents, and a lot of times even prevent help desk tickets entirely. It also gives you the network insight to improve user experience and really meet and exceed the high expectations that users have for network service levels in your environment. And last but not least, it reduces costs by making you, the IT team, more efficient. It increases efficiency and aids in capacity planning as well. I want to make sure and mention that, because you no longer have to expand capacity to just be on the safe side to make up for what you don't know about how well the network is performing, right? You're going to have insight into that, so you're able to only expand capacity when it really makes sense to do so. And I want to say a couple words about competitive differentiation here. And these are general competitive differentiators relative to the majority of our competitors. Everyone may not apply to every competitor, but generally speaking, compared to our competition, this is where we excel. And the first is the ability to classify incidents by severity. And we think this is an industry unique capability. So we're able to classify incidents P1 through P4 so that you know and you can address first what matters most, the thing that is the most severe, the most urgent in your network, okay? And we don't think anybody else in the industry has done that based upon our competitive intelligence. We also have longer data retention to help you establish and to understand historical trends. As much as service assurance is always about what's happening now, you also want to be able to identify longer term trends, and we give you the means to do that. We also offer an all-in-one product subscription, so we're not going to nickel and dime you asking to buy a bunch of different modules and all that. You buy one subscription. You pay for one subscription, one product. You don't have to, install or use multiple products, multiple screens, in order to understand what's going on in your network. All in one subscription, one product. And that product is 100% cloud deployed. So there's no need for a separate appliance, which can get pretty expensive, or a separate data collector, which many of our competitors require. So 100% cloud, and that feeds right into the last benefit, actually, which is simple deployment. We think we have some substantial advantages in terms of simplicity of deployment that's really going to yield some great benefits for you. And as we really head into the home stretch here, I always like to end on customer success. And here's an example from YFirst, which is actually a valued managed service provider customer who uses RUCKUS networking products. And here's a great quote from them. And I'm going to go ahead and read the whole thing because I think this is pretty compelling. Let's just go through this. As a pure play Wi-Fi as a service provider, our success depends on meeting customer SLAs and efficiently managing to those SLAs. That means quickly addressing issues that arise in a network. Unfortunately, it's often difficult to pinpoint the exact cause. We were facing just such a scenario and had dedicated 6-person weeks to solving this issue to no avail. Within minutes of turning on RUCKUS Analytics, we were able to see that the Wi-Fi network was not the issue. We quickly identified a specific hardware element that was the source of the problem. This new tool makes our support operations dramatically more efficient. And that's a quote from Emmerich DeBernis, engineering manager at YFirst. So I think that's pretty compelling stuff. And I couldn't have said it better myself. That's a great quote. Okay, now we really are into the home stretch. That is the end of our presentation material here. And I hope that you have found this session informative. Because this webinar is presented on demand only, we will not be taking questions. But I do want to direct you, if you want to learn more, to contact your CommScope RUCKUS solution provider, always your go-to source for more information about CommScope RUCKUS branded products. And if you do want to do some additional research on your own, you can go to commscope.com/analytics, which will take you to the product page, which houses a wealth of resources that is going to help you do some more self-study until such time as you're ready to engage with your solution provider. And with that, I will say I will wrap up the presentation, and I hope you found this informative, and I will end by saying thank you for watching.